But there is no universal model of democracy. China is following her path, in her way. Because we have a different culture, we have a different history. US and China, we are at different stage of development. Certainly we are different. To the Western mind, to accept that difference is not easy, because Western culture is based on Christianity. I think good and evil, black and white, orthodox and heresy, they are antagonistic. So one has to wipe out the other. This is not the Chinese culture. In the Chinese culture, maybe 2,500 years ago, we understood one thing. We believe we have to live with the cultural diversity. What we advocate 2,500 years ago, harmony in diversity. But for the Western mind, this is not easy. I believe in the coming decades, this is the most important challenge, how to accept that China is different. Yes, we are pursuing, similar objectives, but China is different from you. I think that kind of change of mentality is crucial. My third point is aspirations. With the rise of China, certainly we have aspirations. In the past, in terms of finance, China was not at the head table. The G7 decided everything. G7 decided, then Russia joined in. China was outsider. Today, with the change which occurred in the world, China is moving to the central stage. To be frank with you, we are not quite ready. Yes, we have some aspiration, but how to do it, we really don't know. But when things clear, we need more. We need more voting shares. Let's take IMF example. Those existing major powers, are they ready to give up something? It's not easy. So this is aspiration is combined with it's connected with the challenge. For the Western world, this is a very important challenge. So Charles asked me to say only a few words, so I stopped there. Thank you.
Well, first I want to thank my good friend, Charles, for finding time in his very busy schedule to moderate this panel, and for your kind words about me. I wish my mother were here. She will believe every word you said about me. I'm also honored to speak along with Ambassador Hu. Coming to the podium immediately after you is very much like figure skating immediately after Michelle Kwan, or singing Italian opera after Tian Haojiang. Now, the focus of this panel is a changing China, new opportunities, and new aspirations. I believe that understanding China's new challenges and new aspirations is critically important for the United States. Such knowledge will help the US formulate better policy options. Unfortunately, in my judgment, our views and understanding of China, despite some recent improvement, have largely remained the 20th century way of thinking. Now, in the next 8 or 10 minutes, I would like to address 3 questions. First, why do the Chinese have a far more optimistic view of the ongoing economic crisis than the rest of the world? Second, should we in the United States worry more about China's failure or China's success? And thirdly, should we see China as a solution or as a problem in the new international economic and political order? First, as we all know, the Chinese word for crisis is compound of jeopardy and opportunity. Now, in my observation, the Chinese see a great opportunity rather than a devastating jeopardy in the current global financial crisis. For both the Chinese government and the public, it seems clearer today than ever before that the world is in the midst of a major geopolitical and economic power shift, as Ambassador Hu also mentioned. China has been transformed into the world's foremost frontier of rapid economic development. Now, make no mistake, the global financial crisis has also hit China severely. I'm sure that the next panel will give us a more detailed assessment. Since last fall, foreign trade has dropped, thousands of factories and businesses have closed, 20 million migrant workers, plus 1 million recent college graduates, have joined the already gigantic unemployed labor force. Over that same period, the Chinese stock market lost 65% of its value, an amount of equivalent to $3 trillion US. This percentage made Shanghai stock market is the one suffered the most, far more than even Russia. Now, yet the Chinese people certainly have good reason to be optimistic about their country's future. Now, I would like to only share with two anecdotes because you can also give numerous evidence to say why Chinese are optimistic. Only a few years ago, many analysts outside China believed that China's accession to WTO would inevitably cause major upheaval to its state-owned enterprises, particularly China's commercial banks. This cynical view was understandable because in 1998, bad bank loans account for 40% of the capital of China's banks. By 2008, however, the percentage of bad loans had been reduced to 2 or 3%. Most interestingly, in February 2009, among the top 10 banks in terms of its capitalization value, 4 of them are Chinese banks, including the top 3. I just briefed the HSBC. They made it to the number 4. Yeah. Now, I was in China last week and spent some time in the new Yangsan deep water port. As we may know, of the top 10 container ports in the world, 7 are located in China. The Shanghai port will soon be the leader in international shipping, if not already so. As I was driving on the newly built 20-mile long bridge, it's really 20 miles long bridge that connects to Pudong to Yangsan, I came to realize why an increasing number of Chinese believe that the 21st century belongs to China. Second question, how should we, the United States, worry about China's failure or worry about China's success? The easy answer is both. A failed China is everyone's nightmare. Just imagine prolonged chaos in this most populous nation, civil wars and ethnic fighting, environment and ecological degradation, epidemic and large-scale health crisis, huge outflow of migration, and the so-called angry youth, 愤青, the generation of young people from single-child families who are angry about the Western arrogance and the China bashing. Now, a successful China, in my view, can prevent these worst-case scenarios. But the problem is that the West, especially the United States, may not be ready to welcome China's success. Secretary Clinton, during her recent trip to Beijing, said that the United States and China can benefit from and contribute to the success of each other. But this view is hardly shared by the US media and the Congress. Some people in the West are very cynical about the ongoing political reform led by the Chinese Communist Party, just as they were doubtful when the CCP initiated market transition. So I don't want to go to details. Probably in the Q&A, I will talk about some fascinating political development. Now, my last question, should we see China as a solution or a problem in the new international environment? I have no time to elaborate on my answer. Instead, I just want to argue that to a certain extent, peace and prosperity in our lifetime depends on whether China is treated as and acts